Hey guys, how's it going? It's the Crypto Analyst here, and I hope all of you guys are having a good morning, evening, wherever you guys are from, and welcome back to another Bitcoin technical analysis. And in today's video, we're going to be discussing about this falling channel that Bitcoin's in, why it fell through support, what caused this, and where it's going from here, because there's really two main ideas that people are having when we're in this area. Idea number one is that this is indeed a bear flag, and things are going to keep on falling from here, and idea number two is that this could be forming a BART pattern or some sort of a reversal pattern to bring us back up towards the top of this channel and maybe even break out. So we're going to be talking about all this and what's happening and where I expect Bitcoin to go and why I'm actually shorting Bitcoin right now over the BART pattern. So if you guys are interested, go ahead and stick around for the video, and do not forget to hit the like and subscribe button, as it does help out the channel a lot. But that being said, let's go ahead and dive right on into this technical analysis because there is a lot to cover since the live stream that we did last night. So first things first, of course, guys, I want to signify, and we'll talk about this in a little bit, why the rejection in this area was so key and crucial to us breaking down over here. But of course, we did fall straight through our support, which is pretty violent, pretty volatile. We barely got a bounce over here. The only bounce that we really see is on our 1 hour chart, and if we switch this over to a 4 hour chart, it was pretty much just straight through support. We went straight through our 200 EMA, we went straight through our 50 EMA, and that is a bad sign to me. That's saying that, hey, the levels of bearish volume in here are giant. They are so much larger than the bulls, and that is something to be noted. So when looking at your volume is through the roof for the bears. You went straight through both your EMAs, no questions asked, straight through support, barely even held for a second, and then now we are forming what looks to be a bear flag. Now, this is the line that I was talking about in last night's live stream and in the Patreon about why this was the support area. We're still above the heart line, so I would expect us to at least touch that. But this is the area that I'm looking at over here. And so when we stopped over here at this area, what was previous resistance is now being used as support. I believe that this is forming a pretty clear bear flag. Now, there are two arguments like I talked about earlier, and the fact that this could be really a BART pattern, and we'll be breaking that down in just 1 second. But the fact that this is that this broke down and now it's forming upwards consolidation, an upwards channel, which is almost always going to end up being a bear flag. Now, this is on the 1 hour. I'd like to see something like this form on the 4 hour for me to be, for at least me to have a little bit more confirmation that this is a bear flag. But nonetheless, this will do for now. And if we're looking at this from a BART's perspective, and if you guys don't know what a BART is, essentially it's like the Simpsons character from the cartoon show, where you have his flat head straight up, you have his jaggedy top, and then you have his flat head straight down. So it's essentially what it is it's two parabolic moves on each side, followed by a choppy consolidation on top to form like the cartoon character's head, essentially is what it is. And that's what we kind of seen in here. And someone in the Discord, I actually didn't even notice this, but someone in the Discord by the name of Blank, he's one of the great traders that we have in there. If you guys want to join, it's free, link in the description down below. He actually pointed this out to me. He said, hey, the BART's been the way of the game lately. It's been happening a lot. I've noticed it on a couple of different cryptocurrencies. It's happened on Bitcoin a lot, especially within like the last month or two. And so with that being said, you know, you can't really count it out, because the fact is, it has been getting played out a lot. It has been getting used more recently. So don't ignore the fact that this could be forming a BART over here. And if I actually delete these things, I will go ahead and show you. So maybe this does form some sort of a BART, and it comes down and does do some sort of jaggedy issue over in here before it goes parabolic back up. Now, there's two areas if this is a BART that it would play out to. The first one would be over in here, and then this would be around 3,800, and the second area would be around $4,000 again, which would be at the top of this channel and at resistance, because these are where the two really just resistances are for this formation if it were to occur, and these are the areas that I would expect it to go. So would we have a BART right now? I personally don't believe we will. I think that I think it'd be a very weird situation for us to have a BART and then an inverse BART right back up. It'd be possible, but I think it'd be a little bit too strange for me, at least for the time being. And you know, while this is a little bit of a weird BART up here, I would still say that this is a BART formation. And while this did break down and fall through support, I think it's very unlikely that we see one form over at the bottom here. And I think that this bear flag is actually the way to go for Bitcoin. The fact that we did break through both of our EMAs so fast and our support, and we're still falling over here, I think that this is a bearish situation. And the fact that we're still, again, in a falling channel over here, not to say that we can't break out of this right now, but generally, when we retest resistance, and this is when I'm going to start breaking things down pretty deep, when we retest resistance 5 days in a row like this, this is where you start seeing some hard rejection, because now that we're on the daily chart for Bitcoin to the USD Coinbase exchange, you have one rejection, two rejection, piercing candle, rejected from the 50 EMA, back into the channel, another rejection, a fourth rejection, and then it falls back down. So you have 5 days of rejection, 4 from the channel, 1 from the 50 EMA, just outside of the channel, can't even get a candle body closing over it. And with all that rejection happening 5 days in a row, this thing was just waiting to break down. It was showing that it was getting lower levels of strength. Your bulls were running out of room, they were getting exhausted, and then really just this was on its way to breaking down. We've talked about this before. And so with this, again, having 5 days of just wearing itself out, this did break down, and this is where we're at now. So I personally am shorting this. I have actually been shorting this. I'll be keeping a close eye on this because there is 2 ways that this can play out. If we look at this on the 4 hour, this could form this bar formation that we've talked about. But again, this is what I'm looking at right now. I believe that this is a bear flag, and so for that reason, I'm going to short this. I'm going to keep this tight. I'm going to be watching this. I'm going to definitely be keeping a close eye on this, because if this is a BART formation, I don't want to get caught on the wrong end of the stick. I will definitely have a stop loss in this area, and I'll be watching this very closely to determine that if maybe, hey, this bear flag might get contradicted, and then I might have to switch my position. You never know with technical analysis. So in these situations, you either have to be vigilant or have a close stop loss and really know what you're doing, because technical analysis can change all the time. What is a bear flag can get contradicted. I mean, we saw that up here with what seems to be a bull flag. It ended up getting drawn out and then really just contradicted itself and actually flipped into a bearish situation from what was looking like a bullish situation. Now, with that being said, I want to go ahead and look at some of our indicators and oscillators, because this is where I also believe things are starting to get a little bit more bearish. Now, if we look at our MACD, which is a great oscillator, it's a little bit of a lagging indicator, excuse me, but nonetheless, if you know how to use it properly, it's still a pretty cool one. Now, your oscillators are currently pointing downwards. They look like they just rounded off. And on your MACD, this is where things can get a little bit scary, because your one-day MACD is actually looking pretty bearish. You're seeing lower levels of positive momentum on your MACD. This is pointing down, and you just got your first candle onto the bearish territory. Now, it is very, very neutral at this point. It could come back up again. It's in the neutral territory, but looking at this from a bullish perspective, I just read this as bearish. I see that your bullish action is leaving, and that it might be a little bit of time to get some bears in, bears in the mix of the MACD. Looking at your RSI, while it is again relatively neutral, much like your MACD, I don't see this as too much of a bullish situation. I mean, this is definitely not a very, very bearish thing to look at, because if you're looking at this, you're still seeing consistent higher lows over here. Again, 1, now 2, now like 3, now 4, and this is looking pretty good if you're from an RSI one-day standpoint, because this is heading back upwards. It was oversold. You're still having lower levels of negative momentum all the way up over here, so this looks like it could be heading back upwards. However, with that being said, there's still plenty of room for this to move down if it wanted to, because again, it's so close to the neutral territory over here that it still could very well move down more than this, and we've seen similar situations to this happen before, so it wouldn't surprise me if this did want to take a move down. If we go ahead and we take a look at our 4-hour RSI and MACD, your 4-hour is a little bit oversold at the moment. Again, not to say anything, because this was, okay, so let's actually talk about this, because this is one of the greatest indicators to me that this was complete bullish exhaustion after the fact that we failed to make a separate swing high on Bitcoin. Because when we were looking at this, we had a lower high on your RSI immediately, and then following that, you swung back up and you had a lower swing high over here, signifying that, hey, you are getting significantly lower levels of positive momentum from your RSI, which stands for the Relative Strength Index. So when you're looking at this and you're saying, all right, separate swing high and separate high, and right over here, lower high, lower swing high, the bulls are getting exhausted, they're losing their momentum. You also have 5 rejection candles up here just riding this resistance. You're not able to get it through, and on top of that, your RSI is just losing its power over here, and this giant support line that we've talked about on Bitcoin, what could have been over here all the way up, and I'll go ahead and circle this so you guys can see, like, this is what I'm talking about, like all these consistent higher lows. Eventually this had to break, and it looked like it was winding up to. We've talked about that in numerous videos, and now that it finally has, here's the move down that we've been talking about. So that for me again was a great indicator as to why we are gonna fall through the floor of this thing up here, why I thought we were getting rejected. And the MACD for the 4 hours really not saying too much. It's starting to round off actually for the upside, but it is again almost in a neutral zone. For the most part being, it's really not telling us anything, even if you want to say it's not neutral. While it is rounding off towards the upside, I just don't think that there's really anything to read over here. There's not bullish divergence, there's really not bearish divergence, there's just really, again, not a whole lot of anything. So Looking at this from one final perspective, I can't help. This is what it looks like on the 4 hour. If we want to go ahead and make this even smaller and look at this even more detailed, this is what it looks like from the 1 hour. To me, this is a very clear bear flag. We'll see how this plays out. I could be wrong. But again, I'm going to be keeping a very close eye on this just to make sure that this doesn't form some sort of bullish reversal pattern and I don't get caught on the wrong end of the stick here. So with that being said, guys, I'm going to go ahead and bring this video to an end. If you guys did enjoy the video, do not forget to hit the like and subscribe button, as it does help out the channel a lot. And I want to know what you guys' thoughts on this. Could this be a reverse BART over here, an inverse BART right after this first BART? Do you think that this is bearish? Are you bullish? I want to hear about this in the comment section down below. So thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you guys in the next video.